So we begin this most holy week of the year with Psalm 27, a beautiful psalm. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Of whom shall I be afraid? Maybe it should better read for us during this experience of the past 2 years of what shall I be afraid? That word symbolizes fear these last 2 years. Fear that I might lose my job, my livelihood, my ability to pay my bills, my future. But then the most powerful fear that we had is one we really don't like to face, and that is the fear of death. No matter how young you are or how old you are, whether you had comorbidities or not, you were afraid to get that virus. And you knew that if you got it, there was a chance that you would die. We don't like to think about death, do we? Because, well, it is said by scientists and medical experts that a third of us will die after a long illness. A third of us will die after an illness of about 4 days, and the rest of us will die quite suddenly at night. My cardiologist tells me I have the kind of heart condition that I'll probably die in my sleep. So you can imagine I say my night prayers very well every night. But you know what? We're afraid of how we're going to die, but what about that moment of death where we transition from here to salvation? What's that like? I often thought about that, but never really experienced it until 3 years ago. 3 years ago, I had to have the valve in my heart replaced, and after they did it, I was in intensive care, was getting better. They sat me up, and a priest came in to give me communion. And after communion, took time for prayer, and we spoke for a little while, and that night, he came to the unit and he said, "Don't ever do that to me again." I said, "What?" He said, "You were right in the middle of a sentence when your eyes rolled back in your head." He says, "Suddenly there were 7 or 8 doctors or nurses came flying into the room. My heart had stopped. And they had to revive me and bring me back." And I came back. And when I came back, I can tell you, I remember the moment that I died. The moment that I died. Why? I never remember my dreams. And the only thing I remember is that I saw sort of a bright purplish haze, and I never forgot it. Well, they got my heart started again, and they brought me back, and there was a lot of commotion in the room, and normally I would panic when I see all those people in the room. Am I going to die? The truth is, I already did. And I was absolutely relaxed and peaceful. One of the doctors said, "We better get him up to surgery right away. The external pacemaker is not working." And so they took me up to the surgery, and they got me there very, very quickly. And the anesthesiologist who had given me anesthesia 2 days before, he said, "I remember this guy." And I said, "Hi, I remember you." I was completely without fear. The moment of death is very peaceful. If you had a loved one, a Lolo, a Lola, who died in the past 2 years, or God forbid, your father or your mother, your cousins, it was painful to watch them suffer. And maybe not even to be able to be in the hospital room or the intensive care, certainly. But when they had those machines keeping them alive, there was a moment, if you lost them, that they graduated. There was a moment that they experienced utter and complete peace that we call the light of salvation. And if you were to ask your Lolo, your Lola, your loved one that you miss so much, and the price of love is loss and we cry, if you were to ask them, they would say they would not want to come back, that they're very peaceful, and that they don't miss you because there's no time in eternity, so that when you arrive in eternity, it will seem to them that they just left. So what do we learn about these past 2 years from the fear that we have been through? We learn the beautiful truth of Psalm 27. We can be afraid of how we're going to die, but don't be afraid of the moment of death. This whole week is about that until Sunday. It's about death. And on Good Friday afternoon, the word went out to all the land, Jesus of Nazareth has been put to death. But that's not the truth. Death has been put to death. And we people who have walked through great darkness now are beginning to see light. Those of us who have walked in the land of gloom, a light is finally shown. May our future then be bright in the sincere and beautiful truth that in dying, there is nothing to fear. But in dying, we are giving life that will not end.